So, man, welcome, man. It's so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Got some mutual friends, and man, it's just like I can already tell this is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So, tell us, Tuco, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm born and bred in London, England. I've been living in the United States for 7-8 years now. But all of my grandparents, they all immigrated to England in the 60s and stuff. So my dad's side are Greek and my mum's side are Brazilian German.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was a real like post-World War II, like scatter, mashup. But yeah, I grew up working class background in London. But just somewhere along the line, I just picked up a book and some things that we have in common just took my interest, and
like what?
I never looked back.
Tell us.
Like I saw some of your stuff, like Egyptology and just everything, the universe and history and traveling and all of that stuff, you know?
Yeah. What was the first book that kind of piqued your interest?
The first book that piqued my interest. So my dad actually, as a punishment, he would give us Greek philosophy books and stuff like that. So if me and my brother and I would get in real fist fights, and then he would give us a spanking and a telling off and sit us there and hand us each a book. So originally it was a punishment. Like I remember having Aristotle books and stuff like that. But then eventually he had to stop doing that because I loved to read. But even at school, like I would still misbehave just because where I come from, I was from like a family of boys. So they would send me to the library as a detention. But then I'd explore the library. It was great. And the schools in England, they're very old and they have a lot of history. They have old books. They had all these old dusty books. I just pulled them out and read about history. And I just loved history. I just took my interest.
So it wasn't a punishment for you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
All right,
it started making me misbehave at school and just talking people so I could get sent to the library.
Had the opposite effect.
Yeah, the opposite effect, exactly.
Nice. So, I mean, you're a guy that you love like esoteric knowledge.
Yeah, I love it.
Have you always been like that?
I've always been like that. And I remember I picked up a book, but being Greek and Brazilian, like Brazil's a very Catholic country, very old-fashioned, old Catholicism from Europe, I'm guessing from Portugal and Spain and stuff like that. And the Greeks, they're Orthodox Christian,
right,
which is the oldest church that we have, I believe. So that was in my family, like my family but my dad was the youngest of 13 kids in the house.
Wow.
So he was the youngest and he kind of rebelled, and he was a hippie. Just the time he was growing up, he was smoking a lot of weed and doing psychedelic drugs and partying. So he rebelled against like the Orthodox Christianity. And not that he wasn't a Christian, he's always been a self-proclaimed Christian, but he just kind of denied the church and he didn't take part in what I would even agree is like the trivial aspect of Christianity. He was like, no, I'm going to make my own pilgrimage. I'm going to climb mountains. I'm going to do this kind of stuff. I'm going to interpret the Bible how he saw fit. And that's something even though my dad's wacky, that is something I've had my own experience with. Like even at the gym, we used to do a Bible study after practice on a Monday. And I would get into these debates because the guy leading it, I would say, oh, I feel like this means that. And he'd say, no, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. And I would say, but how many eyes do you have? 2 eyes. I have 2 eyes. Like we both have access to the exact same thing, to the word.
Right.
So who's to say that your interpretation is more appropriate than mine? And he was like, well, the scholars agree. I'm like, who are the scholars? Like, what's their life experience or whatever? Even though I do have respect for a man who's been a devout monk and he's abstained from as much sin as he can, and he's lived in a monastery his whole life, I do respect that, and I do believe that he has a heightened perspective. But still, we're all just human mortals, right? We're all just men, and we all have the same resource. That's it. So I agree with my dad. So my dad kind of raised my brother and I. We were the only grandkids that didn't get baptized. And my granddad went nuts because he's like, they're not going to get into heaven and all of that jargon. And it really wasn't like good with the Greek church.
Right. So let's go back real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm interested about the discussion you have. So there's one interpretation. You say, well, I don't think it's that. It's maybe this.
Yeah.
What, can you give me an example? Do you remember what it was about? Or
I can't remember exactly, but I can give an example now of just like when I read stuff, it's like I was having this debate the other day about evolution. I was talking to someone who's not a believer. They're spiritual, but they kind of reject the Christian perspective of that. And they were saying, they were talking about evolution and the Big Bang Theory and all that. And I said, because I believe like, even though we're not as wise and maybe esoterically we're not as intelligent as we once were, I think we've lost a lot of wisdom just through our exposure to the modern world. But I do think we have the opportunity to be the most intelligent men that have ever lived, probably, like looking back on generations. So I can look at something today, and I use that example. The guy who first theorized the Big Bang Theory, I think he was a priest. Do you know this?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his name was, it's a French name, like Georges Lemaitre or something like that. He was an actual priest. And
I don't have a Jamie to look that out.
yeah, flew that up, Jamie.
Yeah.
And he came up with the Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
And the Pope at the time, I think it was like Pope Pius from the Catholic Church, he adopted it as a way to explain Genesis and creation. He didn't separate it. And so that's how I'm like, oh, okay, I can believe that if the universe is expanding and that's testable or whatever they claim, then why does that rule out Genesis? Like, and we got into this debate about that, and it came down to a lot of interpretation. And I'll even debate this with Christians, I'll use science to explain Genesis, but because they're so stuck in their train of thought, they can't deviate from that ideology. They're like, no, I have to go by exactly what the word says.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but we're thousands of years later now. We have a different way of looking at things. I'm like, we're on the same team, but now I can use science or whatever to explain it. So I used the law of entropy. Do you know what that is? It's that things are inclined to deteriorate. Like things, they lose form over time. Like this microphone, if I take it outside and it's exposed to the elements, in 10 years, this foam will have disintegrated, the metal will be rusted. In 100 years, I don't know, this stuff might have melted in the sunlight. In 1,000 years, this will just be dust. If I take a pile of dust and take it outside, in 1,000 years, it will never become this microphone, because things are inclined to just deteriorate. Like a glass, if you smash the glass, it's never going to reform. It's never going to be a perfect glass. If you get a pile of glass, it's never going to become a glass. Mm-hmm. And I think about that if we talk about evolution versus creation, I think you can't tell me that rocks smashing together in an infinite expansion can arrive at the human eye. The human eye, which I can zoom in right now outside the window on that bush. I can take a photograph in my mind, capture the color, and in a year from now, I can access that in the computer memory that is my brain. Like, that's a perfect design. I don't believe that rocks smashing together and dust and gases can arrive at a human eye. Something that's function is so perfect. It can only be by design, in my opinion. Now, if that Big Bang was with purpose and it had a godly motive to eventually this stuff will form humans, I can maybe believe that. But again, that's my interpretation.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I could say that to someone who isn't a believer and they're a scientist, and they say, no, 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 no. There isn't any motive behind science. Things just act. Molecules, electrons, protons, whatever. They just, they're random. So
Right.
I don't believe that. As the tree has a seed and it drops a seed and the wind blows it and it plants another tree, that has purpose. I don't think that's random.
It's nothing random.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing's random. Exactly.
Right. You know, it's interesting you say this, because, man, I go back to yesterday. I was reading again, like, you know, the creation story in Genesis, and, you know, how God created the heavens and the earth and created man, and then the fall of man, you know, the serpent. And this, every time I read it, it's like I think about something different.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. So the serpent, we're told, like, the serpent's like supposed to be evil, right? The serpent beguiled Eve, and then she did, you know, she ate fruit, but the serpent told the truth.
Yeah.
The serpent told the truth. The serpent said, if you eat of this fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you'll know the difference between good and evil, and you will be like gods, lowercase g.
Yeah.
And later it says, when God said they are like gods, lowercase g, we got to kick them out of the garden, because lest they eat of the tree of life, so they live forever, like in that fallen state, right? So, and like, my wife's like so scared of snakes, you know. Me, I don't mind them. I see him. Matter of fact, right after I read that, I saw a snake.
No way.
I mean, there's no coincidence. Wow. Saw a snake out on the yard. I haven't seen a snake in months.
Wow.
But so let's talk about Moses for a second, right? So the Israelites, they leave Egypt, whatever. They're getting bit by snakes because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And what does God say? Moses, lift up a serpent on a stick. And it's like the caduceus, you know, and the caduceus like DNA, you know, and they looked up on this, on the serpent on the stick, and they were healed. And then this prefigures Christ.
Yeah.
Christ was lifted up. When he's talking to Nicodemus, the leader of the Pharisees, he says, how can a man be born again? He must be born of water and of the Spirit. And then he says, just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man himself be lifted up. And he's talking about his crucifixion, the resurrection, and the ascension. But he aligns himself with the serpent. So I've gone back and forth, like, this is like,
wow.
I don't know if even the serpent's, it's not all bad.
Yeah.
It's not all good. It's like, I don't know if it's like duality, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, like you said, like in the garden, the serpent, the snake is being honest. Honesty is a good quality. He's giving truthful information. Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. Like, but again, I don't think of evil as being this force that exists without people. You know, I just think people carry evil and they're capable of evil. Evil can corrupt people. So I don't fear like some ether, some gas, green, evil thing floating around. And I think evil corrupts people. So, but I do think evil is like an impulsive thing where, like, even if if all the evil people were deceased, like an innocent child could innocently do an evil act just out of interest, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, that duality. But I think about that. That's like Lucifer was a fallen angel, right? But I think he's necessary. Like, he had a job. That was God's will to have that happen.
Right.
So, because it has a purpose, because that's our test, isn't it? Like, in life.
Right.
So I invite that.
Yes. I agree 100%, because I think, let's say you're watching a story, you're watching a movie, and everything goes perfect. Like, that's the most boring thing ever.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching that.
Yeah.
But God he's like the ultimate storyteller.
Yeah.
Right? He knew what was going to happen with Adam and Eve and the serpent and the fall, man. And he knew about the redemption story.
Yeah.
And he knew this is all part of his plan, because he's omnipotent, omnipresent, you know, all that. It's all part of the plan.
Yeah.
It's all part of the plan.
But that's why we have free will, because I think God, that is what it's all about, is our, we have to choose it, you know? We all have free will to choose it. Like
Right.
with your kids, you don't want them to love you because they don't have a choice.
Right.
You want them to choose to love you. They have a choice.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's what it's all about, is about that free will and for us to choose him.
Right. So free will versus determinism.
Yeah.
Have you thought about this?
Yeah. That's something I still struggle with. I'm still young enough, thank God, to that I don't have an answer for that yet. I'm unsure about that, especially with fighting. A lot of guys, they're like, oh, it's already written. It's already written. Like, go out there and just let it go because it's already written. But then it's like, what's the point then in training hard? But then sometimes I'm like, oh, that is the point. It's that experience. It's the choice, you know? Even though it may already be determined, you still have a choice to contribute. And I think in the end, I'll try to explain this, that is what creates the end. Is like, even though that isn't determinism, I guess. But I think, yeah, it's like, it's the same thing in a way. Like we just said about duality. It's like, in a way, it is the same thing. I can't explain it, but
Yeah.
it is. But I always, like I just talked about my background, I feel privileged and blessed that I have a cultural affinity with Christianity. And like my grandmother, she's from the island of Cyprus in the Mediterranean. And I believe they were the first Christian country, the first country to have a state religion and a Christian monarch. So they have some ancient churches there that are like crazy.
I've been there.
You've been there? Cyprus?
In
No way.
1999.
No way.
I lived in
Awful.
London for a short
Oh,
time.
no way, my city.
And then also, yeah, I went to Cyprus.
Crazy.
Nice people.
Yeah.
Like literally, I would go out and
Hot there, huh?
it is. But they the freshest fish I've ever had,
Yeah.
because it's like literally the guy like is out on the boat. He comes
Yeah.
in and it's like his wife cooks it up.
On the Mediterranean.
Oh,
Great
it
food.
was amazing, man.
Great food. So I'm
Nice
lucky.
people.
I'm lucky to have that.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, and even when I travel all over the world, I go to countries like Japan, Egypt, wherever, Middle East, where they have different religions and different cultures. But I always carry mine with me, you know, and I'm like, oh, this is my God and my Lord and my culture. But so I'm always like fond of, like, even in America, we have so many like devout people of faith. And I think they don't even have that. Even though they do, like, historically, I guess, pilgrims and stuff like that came here. But I feel like privileged that I have an affinity with that ancient kind of Christianity.
And it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, like you took like some of that,
Yeah.
that, but you also took kind of the hippy dippy
100%.
part, like,
100%.
hey, I'm doing what works for me,
Yeah.
what resonates with me.
Yeah.
And man, that makes total sense to me, because man, I'm in the music ministry of my church. You know, I go to church, but I listen to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit, you know, Jesus said, Luke 17 verses 20, 21, the kingdom of God is within you.
Yeah.
Right? When the Pharisee said, hey, when's it coming? He said, no, you got it all wrong. You ain't looking for it. It's not a place. It's a state of being. And then I find, like, once I'm in touch with the Holy Spirit, that's my gut.
Yeah.
And man, my gut,
100%.
always right. Always right.
100%. And to get into like more esoteric, hippie, spiritual stuff, your gut, like that, even that word, trust your gut. Like there is a connection, even scientifically, biologically, with the microbiome, like your stomach, the bacteria in your stomach. It has a mind of its own.
It's another brain.
Yeah, exactly. It affects everything, your mood, your energy, even your thoughts. Like mental health is so connected to your gut. The first thing a nutritionist or doctor does is prescribe you a good diet, and they check your stool and they check your bile and your stomach, because they know how important that is for your thinking and your mental health. So I do think, yeah, I always trust my gut. And to me, like you just said, like, to me, that is the Holy Spirit. But then you'll get people in churches that are they're so stuck, like I said, they can't deviate from their ideology, and they'll be like, oh, that's the devil talking to you. And it's, again, you're a person, I'm a person, we have the same experience, the same resource. Like, you're not the authority on me,
Right.
you know? So, and I would anger Christians when I would insinuate that, oh, God has told me something. They'd be like, oh, you think you're a prophet? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, like, that's what my relationship with God is, you know?
Right. They're projecting their lack of a relationship with the Father on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so, like you said, you're active in your church. Like, I do go to the Greek church, the Orthodox church now and then, but I'll be honest with you, when I'm there, I look around, and it's, of course, it's egotistical, but I'm like, these people don't have a relationship like I do with God. Yeah, I'm sure we all do that. Yeah, we all do that. I'm not perfect. I judge people, but like, I'll look around, and this is really offensive to say. I'm not proud to say this, but I'll look at people and I'll say, these guys are all slaves to God. I'm a soldier for God, you know? But obviously that ties into my profession. I fight professionally. I'm a bigger guy. Again, I have that cultural affinity where I'm like, oh, I'm Greek. My ancestors were like swinging swords on the battlefield for God,
Right.
you know? And to go back to what you said about reading and what sparked my interest, one of the first books I loved was a book about the Knights Templar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the Crusades. I was crazy with the Crusades when I was a kid. I loved it. And being from a city like London was one of the hubs for the Crusades. Like, a lot of knights and stuff went through Britain and London and went on these crusades. And there's a lot of stuff, markings and buildings and stuff that are still around today. You can go on the street, and the granite sidewalks that we have, because some of them are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, some of them have engravings of crosses on them, because those buildings were supposed to be exempt from taxes because they were crusaders lived there, and they didn't have to pay taxes because they were fighting. So you can still see. So I would go around looking for stuff like that in the city. And I just loved that whole, just the mystery of that.
Right. And those guys weren't, from my limited understanding, I've looked at that just a little bit. They weren't like true believers in whatever the religion was.
Yeah.
They were very much, they were of the Gnostic bent.
Yeah.
Like the knowing bent. And
Yes.
they learned from all different types of schools of thought, traditions, other religions, but it was more of a Gnostic, like a no.
Yeah. Not many people are familiar with that word. They know the word agnostic, but they don't know the word Gnostic.
They should.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between, like, so I hear all the time, do you believe in God? Do you believe? I know.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a belief. It's a knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And do you remember the movie? Because like the Holy Grail, I was like crazy on the Holy Grail, but then all these things came out. Do you remember the movie Excalibur from the 80s?
Yes.
Like there was the end of that is all about the Holy Grail and King Arthur and looking for the Holy Grail.
Right.
And again, just by chance, I happened to be born and bred in England. So I have this, I love like medieval times and knights and castles, and then King Arthur and the Holy Grail. It would all tie in to each other, you know? And even coming from Cyprus, there were some crusaders that were there and stuff like that. So it all tied in together, and it just, when I was young, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to these places. I'm going to do this kind of stuff.
And how amazing, like when you actually do go there. I'm
yeah,
sure, right?
yeah. Like I said, last year I went to Petra in Jordan, which is one of the wonders of the world. We were talking about wonders of the world. Yeah, and for me, that was such an amazing trip. It was like, just to be somewhere that was thousands of years old. Like I said, I love living in America, and it has a rich natural history. I love the nature here, and there's so much diversity in the nature in the States. You have mountains, beaches, deserts, snow, everything. Like you have every kind of terrain here. But that ancient world history, that is like my favorite thing. I love that. Yeah, I love to go to those places.
Egypt. You saw one of my books, and you're like,
yeah, I first went to Egypt. Every summer we would go to Cyprus for the whole summer. And once we were there, my dad took us from there to Egypt because it was like a 40-minute flight. And on the flight, I remember it was a smoking flight. It was like
Good old days.
Yeah, it was the last smoking flight I ever went on. And we went to Egypt, and my dad took us to all these pyramids. It was crazy. We went to a bunch of pyramids, went to Giza at sunrise, and we went everywhere. And then we went inside some pyramids as well. We went to this pyramid. It was called, forgive me if I'm mistaken, I think Dashur. It was like a bent pyramid. I don't know if you've ever seen this. And there's these different theories about why it was bent. And they said, oh, the pharaoh or whoever they were building it for died while they were building it, so they finished it off quickly. But then my dad, because he, like I said, he's very like into all this stuff. He said that the pyramids of Giza, I don't know if you heard this theory, that like the limestone, they would have been so shiny and reflective that when the sun would rise, and the sun over there is beating, it's like the desert. People don't realize Giza's like right on, people take photos of it from Cairo and you just see the desert, but the city's right there. If you were to go around and take a picture from the desert, you'd see like there's a KFC and there's a million people there. It's right on the edge of Cairo. But it is in the desert. And when the sun would rise thousands of years ago, and it would hit the surface, apparently, according to my dad and these people, it would shoot a beam of light, reflect a beam of light directly into the sky. And I think they said the coordinates of those like match with Orion's belt.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever heard that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you've heard that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then my dad would talk about there was a library under the pyramids, under the Sphinx. And then he showed us pictures, I don't know from what book, but they were like, he'd say it was lined with alligators or crocodiles or whatever they have there in this library in the mud. And like, there's so many theories, but when you go out there, you definitely feel something. It's like, it's insane. And I'm not sure if I believe, and this is another thing about believing, and I'll tie this back to the Big Bang thing. When I was talking to this person, I was like, why do you believe what these things that people say? It's like, it's absurd to me. I'll be watching, I don't believe in dinosaurs anyway. I think it's absurd. There's like two things I read that forever I was like, oh, they're not real. Like, because when I was a kid, they have the Natural History Museum in London, and you'd go every couple months with school, and you'd see these huge T-Rex bones. And one time they told us, oh, these aren't actually bones. These are resin composites or whatever. And I was like, what does that mean? They're not bones? They're like, no,
made up.
They're made up. And I'm like, how? They'd get the imprints of fossils, and they wouldn't even get the whole thing. Maybe they'd get one little bone. And then some guy said, yeah, this is an ankle bone.
Right.
So they scale the rest of the thing.
Right.
And I was like, how absurd.
Out to the whole thing.
Yeah, and then I'd watch shows, and they'd say, oh, the Diplodocus was an incredibly social dinosaur. It would, 7 or more would roam the fields until dusk. I'd be like, how do you know that? Because you found one toe bone next to another toe bone. You came up with that story. How absurd. Yeah, like, and I listened to that stuff. I'm like, how absurd. And I tried to explain to this person about the process of how we ingest information. And I was like, how can you, why do you believe things blindly? That's why, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but like I'll obsess about things like the moon landing or COVID or whatever it is, because I'm like, this is to me evidence that you can't trust any institution to transfer information to you.
Well, I think all the conspiracy theories
have come true.
They're now true.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, it's almost like,
Yeah.
it's like mainstream.
Exactly. It's factual now.
Right.
But I always,
used to be fringe years ago, but
I always try and simplify it and narrow it down to, I'm not talking about COVID or the Big Bang. I'm just talking about information and how we process information.
right.
Yeah. And, but a lot of people, they can't even navigate that conversation because they're so like stuck in their ways about stuff. So it's hard to talk to people about stuff.
Yeah, and the pyramids too. They're actually musical notes.
Yeah,
Musical
I've heard
notes,
that.
and that if you look at the angles, like we were talking earlier about 432 hertz, which is
Yeah,
the frequency of love, 528. It's
the
like
angles are part of that.
some of the
Oh,
angles.
that's why I didn't finish that bent pyramid thing. My dad's takeaway was no, the angle was wrong for the sun. They had the elevation wrong, so they changed it. I was like, oh, that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
More sense
and
than that.
inside the king's chamber, Orion's belt is
Yeah,
in there. I mean, there's all kinds of things like
yeah.
inscriptions on the wall where the Ark of the Covenant used to be. Some people believe it's a Stargate. It's not just a power plant. Like I've gone down a few
Yeah.
of those.
Oh, that's why I was.
do.
That's why originally I wanted to go to Petra because Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
love me some Indiana Jones.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. They go there in that, so I had to go there. I had to. You said you've been to Peru and Machu Picchu. I really want to go there. I want to see all the wonders of the world. I think Giza is not. It's in the ancient wonders. It's not in the.
Not in the seven wonders.
Yeah, but it's one of the only surviving. Because there's like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and Alexandra's palace, stuff that doesn't exist anymore, but Giza's still there. I think there's Machu Picchu, Chichen Itza in Mexico. There's Petra, the Great Wall of China, the Colosseum, and what was the last one? Oh, it's the Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. I've been there.
Oh, in Rio.
Yeah, in Rio.
Yeah,
So
I've been there.
I've seen that. That's beautiful to see as well.
So let's switch gears for just a second. I want to know about what's some traumas that you had, like as a child, that you overcome. 'Cause one thing I've seen in common with people who train martial arts, particularly people who fight for a living, they all got something.
Yeah.
They all got something. And you seem like a guy who's worked through that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we spoke off camera a little bit about the program and people in recovery and stuff. So there was a lot of like drug abuse in my family. Yeah. So my dad, he raised my brother and I as a single dad, but my mum was a drug addict for a long time. Yeah, hard drugs. And my dad was on hard drugs as well, like heroin and crack cocaine, both my parents. And so my brother and I spent time with grandparents and stuff like that. We moved around so many times.
And how old were you, or young?
So that's another thing. People always ask me stuff like that, and I'm like, I can't really remember. I don't know if it's just subconscious blocking it out, or if I genuinely, because I like to claim that I genuinely have overcome a lot of stuff like that. And a lot of my family and stuff, they'll claim I'm like a robot. They'll say, oh, you block things out, you're just a robot. But I really feel like I'm in touch with my emotions, and that's definitely helped. That's the main thing about faith to me. And I'm like, you have an endless supply of love. It's like, if no one loves you, if you're a homeless degenerate on the street, if you're on death row, it's like, Jesus still loves you. And I love that. Wherever I go in the world, if like I could be alone, there could be no light could cease to exist. It's like I can still always access that. I feel like my Father loves me, and it's not in the conventional way, because I really do. It just icks me. Like I really do oppose. Like when I drive past these Methodist churches and stuff, I'm just like, it's all fake. They're all fake. I know that's rude. That's a judgment, and we shouldn't judge. But I really do feel like that. Even in my own church, when I go to my church, I look around, I'm like, you phonies. Like, go up the mountain, take off your jewelry, you idiots. Like, and that's why, especially with Orthodox Christianity, it's very corrupt. Same with Catholicism, I think. Like, the idea of a pope to me is just insane. Again, he's a man. If anything, I have more life experience than him. Like, I've been with women, I've committed crimes, I've had fights, I've been in the world, I've traveled the world. This guy who just lives in the confines of a palace in the Vatican or whatever, and he has no life experience.
Right.
I think, how is he? And again, I have a respect for people that are devout in their practice and they can abstain from stuff. But I think, why is he more, and the people kiss his hand? It's crazy to me. So to me, to be Jesus-like, and I don't even know your views on Jesus, I'd rather kiss the prostitute's feet and wash her feet than kiss the Pope's hand. Why does he deserve that? You know, if anything, he should kiss all of our hands if he's so holy.
Right.
Yeah, so I really reject that. And it's like that in the Orthodox Church. The priest comes around and people kiss his cloak. What has a cloak got to do with anything? And so that stuff, and again, that's just cultural dedication. But to me, that's insanity. Like when I see the Hasidic Jews and they have the sideburns, and it's somewhere in their scripture that that's what they should have. And I think, you think when on your day of judgment, you think God is going to say, oh yeah, he had the sideburns.
Sideburns, check.
Yeah, like to me, I'm like, that's insanity.
Right.
That's insanity. You'll be judging the content of your character, what's inside your heart, not what's over your ear.
Right.
So
It's just like you're exactly right. It's the heart.
Yeah.
It's not the legal. It's not the rules. This is what Jesus consistently said to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Like he healed somebody on the Sabbath. They go, "Oh, you healed somebody on the Sabbath." He goes, "Which of you, if you got a horse or a donkey or a mule, he's in the ditch. You're not going to help him because he's on the Sabbath." And then I heal somebody. It's like he's showing them, It's the heart. And the Egyptians, same thing. They were obsessed with the afterlife. And if you look at the Egyptians in the Egyptian Book of the Dead and other books, they say your heart will be weighed against a feather.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And we see that even today. We see that today with even the Amish, God bless them, because I love the Amish. I think they're living right. But like the Sabbath today, like they can't turn the light on and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't understand that. You think that matters? As you lock the door to the world and don't help your neighbor, but as long as you don't turn the light on,
Right.
it's all that you power your refrigerator with a generator instead of the grid. It's so silly to me. It's like, to me, I'm like, you're offending God with that. Like, you think he's so stupid. He can't see you. You're using a generator. That doesn't count. It's gas. It's not electricity. It's gas.
Right.
Like, come on. Are you serious? How stupid are you? But when I talk about Jesus to people, and again, atheists will argue with me about, all these historians didn't mention Jesus. I'm like, I don't care. I honestly don't care if Jesus really existed or not. Because to me, the idea of Jesus is more powerful than his historical presence. I know what he done is what's important. But I always say that to people. I'm like, it doesn't make a difference to me if I can prove it in a book that he wasn't lived at this time. Because the metaphor of Jesus is all we have today, like physically, until he returns or whatever. But even that, my interpretation of that is that for me, Jesus returning is when men are good again, like when everyone's heart is good again, then Jesus will return. And my dad, he's like way out there where he believes that Jesus was just an ordinary man and he was the son of God, like I'm the son of God or you're the son of God. But he just had that realization and he was like, we are all the children of God. I'm the son of God. And they crucified him for that. You know, that would be the same as them crucifying me for that today. If I went out and I spoke on the mound and said, I'm the son of God, which I say every day. I'm like, oh, that's my father. I'm the son of God. Imagine if they crucified me for that. But he just didn't back down. So my dad believes that like, that there's nothing, that we all have the potential to be that supernatural as well. Right. I believe that. I do believe in that.
And I've heard that same thing, like exactly what your dad said, because we have this giant gap where we don't know where Jesus went. Like all of a sudden he shows, he's a young kid and then 30 years old, he starts at ministry. And there's some people that believe like he went to India and there's some evidence to that he went there, he studied with them. He might have gone to Egypt, studied with people there. He studied with the Essenes.
Right.
These are, again, esoteric masters,
Yeah.
Gnostics. And yeah, I think there's definitely, I think there's definitely something to that.
Yeah.
Because we're all divine children of God.
Yeah.
And then once you figure out, okay, the kingdom of God is within you, it could be returning. One interpretation could be like, he's returning right now because I have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Not some distant in the future.
Yeah. My dad would even say heaven and hell is the same thing. He believes it can only exist on earth. He's like, we've looked, there's nothing up there, there's nothing inside the earth. He's like, heaven and hell is on earth. Like, and we see that now. Like, you could be in a war and you could be in hell. There's people in hell in America. Or you could be in heaven, depending on how you live your life.
Right.
So it's like, it's instant almost. It's now, isn't it?
The eternal now.
Yeah. The eternal.
Life could be great. It could be heaven on earth, or it could be hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on your choices and how you live your life.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say too, when you were kind of pointing the finger, like judging like other people about different religions and stuff. So a friend of mine, he invited me to his church, not a church I go to. And it's one of these mega churches. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he's whatever. He's my friend. I'll go. I want to support him. And it's like one of these men's group, but there's like a ton of people there. The pastor comes out and I feel like the Spirit tells me, false prophet.
Yeah.
Immediately. The guy clearly is he's all about the money and all that. And I say, man, I judged him. And then like the next day, I was praying on it, I was meditating on it, and the message came to me, who am I to judge? God's going to judge him. And if he brings people to the light, like my friend, filled with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
He doesn't see it.
Yeah.
He doesn't see it. But whatever, that guy, even the false prophet, bringing people.
Yeah, we're still on the same team. I get that, and that's what when I go by these churches, I say at least they're all like whatever, they follow the 10 Commandments, or but then eventually I'm like, what if they take over and they'll turn on people like us that are really awake, and it is like cultish. It is a bit of a cult. I don't know how much they feel. I don't know. Again, it's judgment, but I feel bad for that. But yeah, I enjoy how private my faith is. Like sometimes people, they don't realize I'm a believer, and I'll say, yeah. They say, oh, why? I'm like, what? I have to perform for you. Like, and they say, yeah, but it's your duty. You're supposed to spread the word and proclaim your faith and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I do that through my action. Like that is the true display, isn't it? Not proclaiming what I am and wearing the right stuff. Like, what does that matter? It should be through my action that you see the type of man that I am.
Right.
That should be the example, yeah. So that's where I struggle with that. But my faith, yeah, I love that it's private. Like when I pray in private, I love that. Like I said, having that resource, and it's anywhere in the world. It's amazing how you can internalize and I love that. One of my favorite things to do is I say grace almost every meal. And it's not even like I'll thank God and I'll think about the ingredients on the plate. I'll look at my plate. I'll see a tomato and I'll think about this tomato's journey. I'll be like, I imagine some guy growing it in California and maybe his family have had that property for hundreds of years. And every day he walks on the field and he looks at the crop and he's like, he looks at the sun and the rain and he picks one up and squeezes it and takes a bite and gives it to his kid and the dogs are running around. I think about all the love and energy and effort that went into this. And then some guy put it on a truck and drove it and he wasn't with his kids or his wife. He was driving this truck across the country. And then some other guy at 3 a.m. was like loading it off the truck. And then someone put it on the shelf and sprayed it and made sure it looked nice, I think about the whole journey of the plate, the meat that I eat, the animal and the animal's life. And I think about all of that and I'm like, man, thank you for the journey of this food. And now I have the money to buy it, this house to eat it, these knife and fork. And then I'll be like, thank you for all my blessings and my problems. I'm like, how lucky am I to have these minuscule problems? So that's how I say grace, like all that stuff. But then I don't know what you think about this, great. Someone said when you pray, it should, if you don't say it out loud, God doesn't hear it. I don't know if that's just trivial.
I don't believe that for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
I don't believe that. So I've been keeping a dream journal for over
that.
a year. So I've just started just a couple of times. Hasn't happened often, but I've had lucid dreams where I'm in the dream, like, okay, I know I'm dreaming. Okay,
Wow.
and in one of them, there was this like animatronic character. I don't know how else to say it. He's speaking to me telepathically, and it kind of like freaked me out. But I think when we get to the next level, there's no language.
Yeah.
It's all telepathic. So that way nothing gets lost.
But we can already do that, Gray. You telling me you've never had that, like you could be with a friend or someone and like you're in a situation and you look at each other and you just,
right.
You already know that is.
Yes.
But I think, I do believe.
Not developed yet.
Yeah. But I believe that it's because of willingness. In that situation, you know you can't say it out loud. So you lean on that kind of communication, but we don't in any other instant do that.
Right. And animals do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in.
Well, they have to do it. Yeah. They literally do it. Like a deer will look at a deer and be like, skedaddle. But we don't even try. Like we even having this conversation, what we should really do, or you and your wife should sit in a room and actually practice it. It's something that we don't practice. Like if we tried to do that thing that girls do, we'd have to practice it for an hour to really get the timing. So imagine what amateurs we are at that kind of communication that we've never even tried. I've never tried that in my life, to actually sit. And maybe we'd guess with numbers and colors initially. We'd say, I'm thinking of a color, I'm trying to tell you. And at first we'd be awful, but it's the first time we've ever done it. It's the same like this. We'd have to develop it. So yeah, but we don't do that. We don't try, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you seem to be interested in dreams. Do you dream a lot, or
I don't sleep very well.
Sleep.
Yeah, I try to. I sleep best when I'm like in a fight camp and my body's really exhausted. But I'm always thinking so much. Like I'm thinking while maybe that is my way of dreaming. But I did used to have traumatic dreams. Like growing up in London, I wasn't from a good neighborhood. There was a lot of bad stuff going on, people getting stabbed and killed. I had friends who were killed. And I'd have like recurring dreams. I'd have this zombie dream, which is like where a lot of people get that, where you're getting chased by zombies. I would have that. That was an awful dream. You'd wake up in a sweat being chased by zombies. But that's another thing. I know there's practices I can do, like putting your phone away, eating the right foods and drinking the right stuff. And there's things I could do to relax, and I should be meditating and going from hot to cold is a good sleep inducer. There's a great movie, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called The Fountain.
I haven't seen it.
It's with Hugh Jackman and I don't know who the woman is in it. But it's a couple, they live in the modern world, and I think the woman has a terminal illness. And so they're going through this painful experience because she's very sick, and I think it's through their dreams or something, he becomes obsessed with accessing through the spiritual realm, like the fountain of youth, so he can save her. But it's a great movie because they go all the way back to the Garden of Eden. You must watch it. It's called The Fountain. So many people haven't heard of this movie, but they don't go just then. Like they go back to like the times of the Spanish Inquisition, and she's the queen and he's like her most trusted knight. And it's a great movie. You have to watch it. But I think that's all connected. Like when we talk about Egypt and stargates and time travel and dreaming and stuff like that, I think there's so much. It's all connected in the end.
What about reincarnation? You believe in reincarnation?
I don't know. I used to. And then, I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily opposing, but like when I think of the ancient world and I think of stuff like that and Christianity and mystery. I don't believe in reincarnation in terms of coming back as a tree or a frog or something. And I don't know if I can differentiate between like some kind of spiritual immortality and reincarnation in another human body. I don't know, but I have seen stuff like that where people have died in a family and they have a new birth like at the same time and weird stuff like that. But I'm not sure.
The opposition, did you mean like opposition to Christianity?
To reincarnation, like if because I believe that rules out that, I don't know. But yeah, I think I get, as the older I get, we find more answers, and you're older than me, so you but I think the day we figure it out is probably the day we go.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm not saying I got anything figured out.
Yeah.
I like to ask questions.
Yeah.
But let me just throw one thing out. And I am a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. This is how I, this is how I view, like my spirituality.
Yeah.
And when the disciples asked, he was talking with, Jesus was talking with the disciples like talking about who he is. Jesus asks, who do they say I am? One of the disciples said, well, some say you are the spirit of Elijah, others the spirit of John the Baptist. And he doesn't correct them. He doesn't say, oh, that's impossible. Spirits can't be transferred into another body. But who do you say I am? And then eventually Peter says, you are the Son of God.
Yeah.
You are. And he says, blessed are you, Peter, because, the Holy Spirit gave you that, that info.
Yeah.
But to me, sounds like reincarnation, like spirit of Elijah is, and of course Elijah was taken up. He never died.
Yeah.
He's one of the few, him, Enoch as well.
Yeah.
But
then again, that's like what I was saying about heaven and hell and the way we interpret things. Like, who says? Yeah, like I feel like that. Like about my granddad who passed, I feel like, oh, I have him with me, like his spirit, and I adopt his things. So I don't know how to explain it, or I don't even understand it. But I think it's like, because all we have is the present. It's the only thing that really exists, right? The past has already gone. The future is just a notion of time. So now is all that actually exists. And I don't think, like, Jesus can't be a memory, right? We all carry it with us, and so that it exists now. If they, like, which they're trying to do, like, burn the books, so to speak, and, like, I think that's why there's such an attack on, like, God and gender, and because they say God, we have God-given rights that are the inalienable rights given by God. Every man has them, right? So if they just say, oh, you're not a man and God doesn't exist and we don't have any rights, that's why I think it's important to preserve that. What were you just saying? about reincarnation? That
or just I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I know, but man, I just as a thought experiment, man, I love asking questions.
Yeah.
So on one level, like I just like to try to keep it simple, and that is, God's my dad.
Yeah.
He loves me.
Yeah.
I love him.
Exactly.
I need to go help other people and love other people, and that's it. That's it. Everything else, I love to go down the esoteric rabbit holes,
I know.
There's a lot of stuff
I'm the same.
I just don't know. I'll never know.
I always try to like circle back and relate it to God or my faith. But that's another thing. It's like we have so much ego because we're trying to survive as well. It's like ego is a survival mechanism. And even that, like I struggle with that. I'll do good deeds and it's like, damn, like I want to tell someone.
Like get recognition.
Yeah, and it's like when you actually think, why do I do that? Why do I want that? Why do I want the recognition? It's all stuff like that. And but the conclusion is always the same thing. Even if I say, oh, my trauma from my life is that I wasn't seen as a child, I wasn't valued or loved. So now I do good deeds because I want to be valued.
Right.
you know? And it's like, why? Because I want to be loved. But I am loved. I'm already loved by my Father. Jesus loves me.
Right. But so the universe is a mirror,
Yeah.
right? So if I think about, because I know what that's like. Like I never felt good enough. I never felt worthy. My biological father left. This was one of my core wounds.
Right.
And now I can see it, like when those things would crop up, when I wanted, because I was the same way. I wanted to do stuff. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Look how great I am. It's because I heal that core wound. It wasn't 100% healed.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a place, took me a while, but I'm now, thank God, I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, my biological father, he's still an alcoholic. He's still out there drinking. Like, that's on him.
Yeah.
You know, because he abandoned me. That doesn't mean like I'm not worthy of love.
Yeah.
The Father loves me.
Yeah.
And if the Father loves me, who am I not to love myself?
Yeah.
Right. And then once I have that realization and I work through that, like I pray for him. He's lost.
Wow.
Still lost, you know. But hey, we all got work done. I still got plenty of work.
Yeah, I don't
Plenty
think
of
it
work
ever
to do.
stops. The day we figure it out is
Yes.
probably the day that we go.
Right.
It's funny because, like when you fight, like there's fighters that they brutally knock out their opponent, and then they're like, "It's not me. It was all Jesus." And sometimes I'm like, "You think Jesus wanted you to kick that guy in the face?" Like, but I do take it with me into fighting. Like I always think like I'll say my little prayer in the dressing room, and I love that. I do feel like a gladiator going out there, and I do feel like I'm wearing the armor of God, even though my opponent might be a believer as well. But I think, yeah, I wish I was on the battlefield swinging my sword and cutting some guy in half in the Crusades, but
Right.
that is my version today, you know. That's like, and I do feel compelled to do that. And I actually had this discussion because a friend of mine was like, "When are you going to stop all this fighting?" And he's like, "You could probably make as much money doing a regular job. You're smart." And I was like, "You wouldn't get it, man. It's not my choice. It's something I'm compelled to do. I was born in the wrong time. I should have been on the battlefield with a sword and shield, but this is where I'm at." But I do love that. Like when I'm under the bright lights and there's an arena full of people, that is the Colosseum to me. And in that moment, I'm like, because you do feel isolated. You're in the cage. They shut the cage doors, and everything's a blur. There's all these people. You can't see any faces, and the noise is so loud that it just becomes a little silent, and you're alone with yourself in the cage. And obviously, you have to focus on the opponent, but still in that moment, I'm like, I'll have a whisper to God, you know. He's like, "Oh, I'm with you." I'm like, cool. It's a good feeling. It's a warm feeling, you know.
And congratulations, the arm triangle
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
choke, right?
Thank you. I should be fighting soon, like in the next couple months. I had a little injury. I wanted to fight. I've been wanting to fight because my last fight was, 6-7 months ago. So I'm looking forward to fighting soon.
Nice. And you know, our mutual friend Evan Elder, he mentioned everything's a fight in life. So it's kind of like prep for pretty much everything else in life.
I've learned that it's all proportionate. Like I would be in church, and the church I would go to in London, on a Sunday, they would like read people's prayer cards. And sometimes people would be like, "Oh, pray for me. I have my final exam." And I would be like, "What? I'm not praying for that." Like, there's people really going through stuff. But I understand it's all proportionate, you know?
Right.
To them, that is their biggest stress on their life, and it's heavy on their heart.
Well, they're still selfish.
Yeah.
Right. So got to pray for those people, not for the exam, but that they start to lose themselves. Because so once we lose ourselves, this is where we gain everything. Because, and I'm the biggest selfish, jerk ever, ever. But now I see like that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at. It's about helping other people. So something like that, they're spiritually sick.
Yeah.
They're sick. They're only seeing right here in front of their face, you know?
They don't have a bigger picture. But that's why you need foresight. It's easy to have hindsight, but just of what the bigger picture is. And I always think about that. One of my favorite things to do, Gray, is to go, not my favorite thing to do, but I enjoy going to cemeteries and stuff as a personal experience, because it grounds me where I'm like, oh, this is the shit that matters. Like, get right with God and the people that you love, and what did you really do in the world? Like when you're, even you, like when you're on your tombstone, it's not gonna say lawyer or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like what would it say if you could choose? It's gonna say loving father, you know? Why? Because you want to be like your loving father.
Right.
So it's like, that's the priority, and we get caught up in all this other stuff, and we put what really matters on the back burner.
It's interesting you mentioned about cemeteries too. Like my parents live in Georgia. We went to Savannah. It's not too far from their house. And there's like a giant cemetery. And oh, you been there?
The haunted like places, yeah.
Oh, it's like, man,
yeah.
You can feel the energy.
It.
Oh,
yeah.
Feel the energy.
Oh man, I thought I was the only one.
Oh no. Well, when you're in touch with the spirit,
yeah,
you feel it. You feel it.
But what do you feel like? A buddy of mine, we was in New Orleans once, and a buddy of mine told me like some weird woman came up to him because there's all the voodoo stuff. Right. She was like, "Oh, can I steal your energy?" And he like flexed and was like, "You can try." Like, I don't have. I used to be scared when I was a kid because of my childhood. I used to be scared of intruders and whatever, the boogeyman.
Right.
But then I came of an age where I was like, "Oh, I have no fear." Like, you know, if I'd probably lose, but I would fight the devil out there. Like, I would love that. That's my dream, you know, to fight the devil. Like, put him in a mortal form where I could fight him. And like I said, I don't even necessarily believe evil is this entity that exists individually, but any evil. Like, I'm never scared of evil. But you do that through practice and reps. Obviously, I'm a big guy. I can fight and stuff like that, but anyway, and you see that with people that have courage, you know, like you see a little old woman will fight off an attacker because she's not scared. Her heart's full of God. Yeah,
she got a strong spirit.
Yeah, a strong spirit. Right. Exactly.
Right. This is what matters, because I've seen people that are bigger, they ain't got no spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen little pipsqueaks. Yeah, like they got lots of spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and mentioning about the cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not to get morbid, but sometimes, I think about my own mortality. Yeah. I'm a little older too. Again, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Like, I got a will and all that, and trust and all that good stuff. Living will. So it's like, whenever the good Lord takes me, that's where He takes me. I have zero fear of death, because it's like, I know this is not the end.
Yeah.
Right. There's no matter cannot be created or destroyed. It just transforms.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I say to and even Alan Watts. I don't even know what his beliefs were, but he had a bit about this and I say it to atheists. I'm like, you think at the end you just live in a black and you just don't see, and it's just black.
Right.
That's not an experience. Like, it's constantly an experience. There's something after this. You can't just go black. Like, what do you think? Like, that's incomprehensible that there's just nothing.
How can there be nothing? Watts, by the way.
Yeah. How can there be nothing? My favorite Alan Watts bit, he has this talk, it's called Fear of Enlightenment. And he would say that people think that they have to suffer to gain enlightenment. They think there has to be some journey of suffering, some sacrifice. So people go and they climb Mount Everest, and they think that when they reach the summit, they'll have this epiphany and they'll be enlightened. And he's like, why? What happens on that last step? And he thinks that people they make the decision on that last step because they've already suffered. They say, oh, I've earned it now. I can unlock this new state of consciousness. And he's like, you don't need to suffer to do it. You can just decide to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
The Fear of Enlightenment. That's great, man.
Yeah, you should look that up. It's on YouTube. The Fear of Enlightenment. Alan Watts. It's great.
Yeah, he's so ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, but so tell me, when you wake up in the morning, do you have like rituals that you do?
On my alarm,
What do you-
which I always miss, by the way, I wake up before it. I always wake up before my alarm. Sometimes like 1 minute before. It's like,
Okay.
it's yeah, I always wake up and I make my bed and pray. Sometimes I'll rush it, which is bad. And then I'll go do the cold plunge. And then I actually do, I don't know if you know Wim Hof.
I do.
Yeah, I actually went to a Wim Hof like seminar in London. I met
Nice.
him. So I do the cold plunge, I get out and I do the Wim Hof and like some kind of Tai Chi, made up Tai Chi, in the sun. And I'll like stick out my tongue to get sunlight on it. I don't know why. And
Vitamin D.
I'll try to sun gaze. Like I'll try to look close to the sun. Yeah, that's my morning ritual. Sometimes if I'm not going straight to the gym to train, I'll walk for an hour, like to walk. Yeah, that's it. Take my supplements, drink my electrolytes. But I need to get better with my end of day routine. It's easier in the morning when you have energy and you have light and clarity and eyes on you. But it's at night when no one's looking.
So then what's the ideal routine at night?
At night would be to like turn off all the blue light, the screens, TVs, lights, whatever. To like already have eaten and digested. I like to go for a digestion walk. And then ideally would be like to watch the sunset, because I feel like that would be a really good, it's a natural adjustment. But we're on screens and your body thinks
Right.
daytime still. So
Right.
to watch the sunset, I think would be a ritualistic thing. And then I don't know, have some tea, read, and then do some kind of pre-sleep meditation. The hot to cold's really good. The drop in body temperature puts you into REM sleep or something quickly. Yeah, I do all of that. Meditate and then sleep like a baby, hopefully.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I tell you, that sounds like an amazing routine,
Yeah.
you know? And I like what you said about, you know, that at the end of the day, you think it's still like light out because whatever, you're on your screens.
Yeah.
Whenever I went to Peru, I've been to Peru a couple times, but I've been out in the jungle. I don't bring my phone.
Wow.
And it's like when the sun goes down and
It's dark.
it's dark, it's like pitch black. And all you hear, I mean, you hear animals. The first night I was like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep with this. And then by like night 3, I was able to go to sleep, and then, you know, I wake up with the sun. It's like you get in the rhythm of the earth.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how we're supposed to be.
right?
That's how we're supposed to live. Don't be stray too much.
Yeah. And then Enoch. Have you read the book of
I
Enoch?
haven't. My dad loves that, but I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I need to. I don't have time yet. But I do save stuff sometimes. I'm like, let me save that. I'm not ready for that yet. But my dad's big on that. Book of Enoch.
Man, it's such a mystical book,
Yeah.
and it's in like the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It's like
I want to go.
canon.
I want to go to Ethiopia, but I think there's some wars around there or something. But yeah, I really want to go because there's all these ancient churches there. There's one that's like up in the mountain, and they have Bibles that are like 1,000 years old.
They say the Ark of the Covenant
Yeah.
in Ethiopia.
I'd love to go.
Yeah.
What? Where did you first read it? The Book of Enoch, or when, rather?
When I probably read it a couple of years ago.
All right, cool. So I got time.
Yeah. You know, no, you're good, man.
Yeah.
You're good.
I got time.
You're good, but it's mystical. I know. I think you would enjoy it.
Okay.
You would enjoy it. Yeah, for sure, man.
I need to get into that.
What are you reading? Any other books right now?
I have a pile of books to read. I read a good book recently. I think that author was Frederick Gross. It was called The Philosophy of Walking, because I love to walk. And there's some stuff in there that's almost godly. He talks about the reward you get, the reward of the walker, like the things that you see on your journey. And that to me is kind of like a pilgrimage of sorts. Like each walk is like a little pilgrimage. It's like you're venturing out. You could be sitting on your couch watching TV. And where I live, it's kind of like this. It's like But you walk and you might see a wild animal, or you see a bird, or you see a sunset, or you hear a noise. It's like, it's so rewarding. But it's a great book. It's all about the philosophy of walking. That it's an experience, it's a journey, each walk, you know. It's an investment. Going on a walk. That's the last book that I read, Philosophy of Walk.
Nice, man. Yeah, I can. That sounds like it would resonate with me, man. I go walking, I ride my bike over,
nice.
Over in the park.
Nice.
They have like miles of trails. Like right over here, and I see deer. There's gators. There's otters.
Florida's a great wildlife place.
Yeah, man. If someone was struggling with faith, believing in anything, like an atheist or even an agnostic, what would you say to them?
I think most people like that. Like, I have a close friend, I won't name him, but he doesn't believe in God because when he was young, his parents were dying, and he prayed, and his prayer wasn't answered. And from that day, he said, "Oh, this is bullshit," you know. But I think that it all comes down to perspective, you know. But once you close that door, it's like you can't see what's going on out there. So you can never just close the door, you know, because the door's always open from the other side. So it's like you're choosing. And like I said, as long as we all conceive God, he'll exist forever. Even though he always exists, I mean, in our lives, we'll attribute the things that we see to him. But like that, I'm like, for that guy, I'm like, you're choosing for him to not exist for you. You've closed the door. How can he do anything in your life if you close the door? So I would tell them that. Like, I saw a video the other day, brought a tear to my eye. It was a father and a child, and his son was battling cancer, a young kid, like 6-7 years old. And he said to the kid, like, "Are you mad at God for your sickness?" And he's like, "No, I'm so happy that he chose me and not like one of my sisters." And I was like, wow, it makes me choked up now. Yeah, I was like, wow. And the dad's like crying. Like, I'm crying right now. Excuse my French.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That means you have a soft heart.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like this kid, he was more mature than I am.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, that perspective, you know, is like, it's like God-given, you know,
Great
perspective to have. And I think that's what faith can do. It can change your reality. It will change the experience that you're having. If he doesn't exist, then it's like you're in your life, then you're not letting him work in your life. You know, you have to give him the chance.
Right.
That's what I'll tell them. I'll just tell them, open the door and see for yourself.
Right.
You know, to prove me wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think it's great that your heart is healed and open enough to cry, because a lot of, I was growing up, oh, don't cry, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah,
like this was like the mentality, right?
Same.
This is not the way.
Yeah.
This is not the way. Like I tell my kids, guys, it's okay to cry. Like whatever your emotions are, you got to feel them, right? Because you have to feel, then you deal, then you heal.
Oh, I love that.
Feel, deal, heal.
Remind me to write that down. Feel, deal, heal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if we don't allow ourselves to feel, we're never healing.
Yeah.
We can't deal with it, much less heal it. And I have some friends that are like objectively like macho men, whatever you want to call it, special forces guys. I mean, like pretty manly men, and it's like the idea of like a real man to me is like it's integration of the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
Not denying that part.
100%.
Yeah. Man, I could talk to you all night.
No, I could as well.
I know you got something you got to do, and I want to be respectful of that. But
thank you, Gray. I'll have to come back, man. That's
man,
a great chat.
I would love to have you back.
Yeah, we could have different podcasts about different stuff because I can talk about everything.
Yes, sir.
Bro, thank you so much for having me, man.
Man, God bless you. God loves you, and so do I.
Thank you, Gary, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.